Okay, a very good afternoon to everybody. Thanks very much for taking time out of your lunch hour, or whichever hour it is for you, depending on where you are in the world. My name's Casper Bartington. I'm APM's Head of Volunteer and Education Engagement. It's Volunteer Week this week, so it's highly appropriate that we've asked one of our volunteers to come along and talk about volunteering. So Ewelina Kruk has very gladly and very kindly agreed to join us today. Ewelina is a CHPP and a Apm and has volunteered in many different ways, but I'm not going to talk about that because that'll be stealing Ewelina's thunder. So without any further ado, Ewelina, it's over to you. And before I pass to you completely, you just put in the chat. So it's always good to know that volunteering happens everywhere. And of course, there are opportunities to support APM, not just in the UK, but outside the UK too. So now I'm going to take my camera off, and Ewelina, please take the floor.
Thank you so much, and welcome everyone. Feel free to write up in the chat where you are from whilst we're getting warmed up and moving into this presentation. I'm very curious where you are. I am Bristol based, just outside London in the UK. So now you know my name. Thank you, Casper, for introducing me. But first things first, before we talk a little bit about my journey of volunteering, which I hope will give you an idea of what you can do yourself or what you can get engaged with. I love to get to know you. I want to know what you're interested in, and also how you're leaving this session towards the end and where you are at with your with the new knowledge you've hopefully gained throughout. Oh, this is so exciting. So many of you from different places. Great. So guys, I want to know, you may be coming into this session because you're already volunteering and you want to know more about the opportunities that may be out there, specifically around the current call out for branch members and so on. Or you may not be volunteering at all, and that's absolutely fine. We'll show you the palette of options you've got if you wanted to get involved. So you are in the right place. Either way, we can give you some information today to either advance you in your volunteering or to introduce you to it altogether at whatever level, whatever time capacity you have to get involved. So we've got 39 people who answered, and we've got 58 people who were on the call. It looks like the numbers are stabilized. So we've got majority of you who haven't volunteered or that not volunteering with APM specifically just now, and a few of you that are already volunteering. Just to give you a little bit of background into why I personally started volunteering and sort of where it's taking me going forward, I hope, and through the years that I have been with the APM. So I've joined the APM as a student in 2013 as I was moving across to full-time project management role. And I think there's a lot of people, given the how young the profession is and how it's still evolving, there's so many people who come into project management from different backgrounds. I've moved into it from retail, but I was doing some projects in retail. I got a taste for it and I really loved it, and I went into engineering. But at that time, it was a little lonely because you're changing profession, so you're not yet immersed in the profession. You may not have professional friends. You are probably still studying or transferring your skills or brushing up on your skills. So joining APM on the volunteering side of things really accelerated my getting to know of the community. It really helped me to form bonds quicker and get to know people like me and learn from them, and also to be able to raise my hand up for things to do, again, just to get noticed and get that extra feedback that I really needed at that early career of mine. I also wanted to be a part of something that was growing, and the profession is still growing, still evolving, but the ability to influence and shape and contribute, probably even more so, because shaping wasn't really in my reach at that time. It was absolutely fantastic. And the other thing is that when you get a task, when you're volunteering, it's probably different to what you're doing at work. So it helped me to expand on my skill sets, as well as do things in addition to my work that were a little different and taking me out of that day to day, in order to keep things fresh, keep things moving. A little bit like an energy pill or a Red Bull for my professional life. That's how I call volunteering. You would probably ask, so okay, so what did I do in my first year as a newcomer and a junior in the profession? Well, I've got engaged and involved with WIPM specifically, Women in Project Management, if you're not familiar with this interest group. The SIG has opened up an opportunity for me to put together an event in Bristol, which was absolutely fantastic. It was an event for a wide array of project professionals. We were talking about how to use social media, interestingly, in order to continue networking and continue reaching out to further audiences in our professional life. The event itself required of me to work with APM very closely to put a quick business case, the reasons for why we're doing the event, think a little bit about money, or how much is it going to cost, the resources I'm going to need, and where I want to do it, who's going to help me to do it, and what were the materials that we needed to put the event on, and obviously as well as the marketing of the event in the region. I was really excited and probably a little scared as well, because you never have any guarantee how many people are really going to show up, and you wanted it to be success. And that event has given me the experience of doing something from end to end, just by the sheer fact that it's like a project. You have to think about all components. But without the APM and being part of it, I wouldn't be able to do that and experience it, because if you think about putting an event completely on your own and marketing and publishing it, I'm not sure if that's actually quite available. So again, it's, you know, it's a new skill, it's a new opportunity, and getting to know the other people who I may have not met before that got attracted to the event via the APM. So that was in my first year of being a member. It was super exciting. There is a lot to be said about volunteering opening up an opportunity to meet people who inspire you. And interestingly, I was volunteering at one of the WIPM conferences. I think I was scribing or doing something of that nature. And I've met a couple of women who were already full members of the APM, as well as underway of becoming chartered. And through conversations, they would ask me, am I a full member? Am I, you know, what are my intentions? What am I thinking of doing? And it's even just that conversation that gave me an opportunity to think about actually what are my aspirations and get inspired from them, to pursue the steps that they may have pursued. Then there was a call out. I really actually just responded to an email that came out from the APM and said, hey, I really want to do this. But there was a call out for the face of the APM, which resulted in me being picked amongst other people to represent the you know, the makeup of the Association of Project Management. We went to the conference, we had a photo shoot, we've done some answered some questions, etc. And for a young professional like myself, you know, within the first year or so of my career, it was just absolutely amazing. And all it took was to raise my hand and say, yes, I want to volunteer, make my case, present myself, and then get through the selection process. But it was absolutely fascinating. And ever since, I've been around. My suggestion to you is do what you're doing right now and put your hand up and be interested in volunteering, because you never know, another opportunity like this may come up, and you will have not only a wonderful day, but you will be able to present yourself in a professional arena. That is the platform of Association of Project Management. Oh, a little bit more. So this is another one, again, that's happened just because I keep on sticking my hand up. I've had an absolutely amazing opportunity to join a panel of women talking about equality and what it means for business. And the women who I met on that day with some I'm still in contact, who inspired me to push myself professionally and to think widely and open up my horizons. And I can't even explain to you how fantastic the whole day has been. And then having the opportunity to participate in a project magazine is just elevating. And again, this is just because I'm doing volunteering, I'm talking to people, I'm raising my hand up, and I'm doing little bits and bobs. But these are the highlights of things that can happen to you when you're volunteering, if I'm not selling it enough as yet. But how do you get there is the question. So let's move on to the next slide. So the bit that I would do is actually anything that the APM colleagues may need me to do, depending on my time of availability. It's completely appreciated and understood that some people can put more time into things and others may not, but that's not to say that you can't get involved. So I am the type of volunteer who's very much, I call myself a floaty. I don't know if you go on holiday and get your pink pelican with, you know, little pelican for your drink, and then you just float around the sea or around the pool. Well, that I'm kind of like that. I float from one corner of the APM to the other, doing little bits and bobs depending on what it is that I've got time for. So my first things that I was doing, and I was pestering Maya and Casper and a lot of their colleagues to let me do some scribing or assist with the putting on of an event such as a conference. And sometimes that meant that I could go and you know, work per se at the event and enjoy the benefit of being there and listening to the various people and meeting people. So yes, that's my little secret. Always put your hand up and try and do even little things like scribing the events or assisting with putting on events if you can't put one on yourself. Moving on to the next slide, please. The other things that I get to do, which you may be interested in, outside of attending those bigger events and doing scribing, etc., it's obviously engaging with Casper and the outreach program. I've been slightly off that program for a little while, and Casper is fully aware of it, but it's because, like Mohammed, I have recently finished my master's degree, so I have been a little occupied with other things, but I am now back full on, and I am very eager to go back and talk to students because when you are at that stage and you're choosing your profession, I don't think project management is always widely understood, or it's easy to understand entirely what it does and how you can develop your career or what options you've got. I think it's really important that as passionate professionals that I'm sure we all are in this session and outside of it, that we want to teach and educate people on what it is the project profession does and how far you can go with it and what you can do. So the best place you can do is raise your hand up and join the outreach program. And there are sessions that are put together across multiple universities. It's a very active program where you can present for an hour. And also, let's not forget that if you're someone who's not really good with presentations, but you want to challenge yourself and you want to try and practice and learn the skill, this is also an opportunity, a platform for you to do it. So grab that opportunity and present at a university nearby, or indeed at the other end of the world if you wanted to. But for whoever who's not in the UK or Great Britain, an outreach program is also an opportunity to plug back in if you wanted to. So again, think about that. And it doesn't take too much of your time. It could be an hour once a year, or it could be 5-10 hours if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. Other things that you can do as well is APM generates materials. Sometimes those materials could be a podcast, Most recently, I had the pleasure of contributing to a podcast about mentoring as the whole new program was being launched. So that could be you. You could be. I've never done a podcast before, so I was actually quite excited to learn the inner workings of how a podcast is done. And you get guided through it, and you're able to put your contribution. Sometimes you may get an email asking whether you would be willing to do a video to talk about a topic and express your views about it, and then it may be used on the APM YouTube channel. You can, if you have a little bit more time available and you want a bit more of intense contribution, you could judge awards. There's obviously the annual awards with the APM that you can get involved with. And then there's also the mentoring and mentee, the reverse mentoring, such as we had Patrick and Rona who are mentoring. There's a whole program about it, and we can talk about in a second. And then this is a item that's from my previous presentation, but you can also join. Maybe in the next couple of years there will be an opportunity to join volunteering steering group, but that's obviously the other end of a time contribution that you may have. So it's going from minimal, hour here, hour there, building on and becoming a bit more onerous if you wanted to. So moving on to the next slide, please. And there's even more opportunities. So through the APMs, APM did a podcast with Antonio Nieto Rodriguez, my absolute favorite project management author. And I took the opportunity to utilize that link in order to connect with him and have a little bit of a chat about profession. So anything that you do can then open up another avenue, or can give you an idea of connecting with someone who's connected with the APM, who can then maybe answer your questions that you may have. I absolutely found that exciting and an opportunity. And if I didn't listen to the APM podcast because I was involved in the podcast, I probably wouldn't have found out about now my favorite author and a person that I follow very closely. Moving on to the next slide, please. So we spoke a little bit about how long does it take in terms of if you want to get involved. In order of intensity, the outreach, the education program, the events, as we said, take usually 45 to 60 minutes. You prepare a little bit of a presentation. That may take you a little while depending on how much time you want to spend on it, or if you need to build it from scratch, and you may have something that you've used in the past that's also suitable. And you can do one event or you can do 10 events. It's completely down to you. So this is very flexible. You stay on the comms list, and then you raise your hand up when you want to go and speak at a certain event that suits your timing. So very great way to get involved and try and spread the knowledge about the profession to the newcomers possibly. Then we've got the video contents. They're usually quite quick. If you were like me, I tend to go a bit off tandem, which I may have today, so I do apologize. So I take multiple takes and end up having 30 versions of 3 minutes. But you can be far more concise as a project professional and create something that is 30 seconds to 3 minutes long in that specific time, and that's your contribution, that's your volunteering. You've put yourself out there. Join a branch or specific interest group committee. We are currently in the process of a call out for hands up for branch nominees. Why is it so exciting? Because there's so many more face-to-face events that are coming online, and branches are the means and ways of putting these for us. And I don't know how about you, but I'm absolutely craving of that energy of other people and opportunity to join others in talking and thinking about the profession. There is so much or so little you can do with the branch of specific interest group. Like I've mentioned to you with WIPM, I would put my hand up in supporting events that somebody else was running. But perhaps you could also put an event on yourself, as the first one I did in Bristol in the first year. With branch, it's exactly the same. If you are, obviously, if you are in a committee, it will be a little bit more time contribution than usual. Not like the 1 hour or 3 minutes, something like that. But it's, again, you can moderate it and you can support it as far as you can. There are things that happen which are like regular meetings, developing some of the business plans, thinking about the events and the collaborations, and just looking at other organizations that you may want to bring together. This is an amazing opportunity for people who want to develop some of those skills. So let's say you are a semi-mature professional, but you want to work with business thinking, business planning, you haven't done that before. So it's very, very interesting to experience and explore. I would highly recommend it. I can see someone saying very interesting to get involved in the education outreach events where I can find them all. No problem, don't worry, we'll give you all the details on how to go about it and who to talk to and how to get connected with the APM to do these things. And then I think there are a couple of pointers about the question for Q&A. We'll leave that for later. And then we had feedback from Rona and Patrick about the mentoring. So the mentoring program, just so you are aware, that's come about, it's always been around. It began from the mentorship and the support given to people who wanted to become chartered professionals. But at the moment, it's formalized platform and it's a part of APM Hub. If you are a member, you can go in and you can either seek mentorship or you can provide mentorship, or you can do both at the same time. It could be reversed, but you've got to be a member for that, okay? So that's just a really important thing to highlight. And you can be a member even if you're a student. Definitely explore that. But we've got Rona saying that you have done quite a bit of mentoring through work and then you have signed up to this program. But you had no contacts. Okay. And you would, okay, we can talk a little bit about the mentor card, and maybe you and I can do it offline and we can see how we can improve it so we can get some more requests in there. Okay, so volunteering steering group, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we're past the nominations and the people who are there at the moment will be there for another year or 2 years. Casper, step in if you want to correct me on that. But there will be a call out for this particular group. Probably, will there be one in a year's time or 2 years?
There'll be opportunities in a year's time.
In a year's time. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So volunteering steering group, I've had the pleasure to join that particular group for a year. It's a fantastic opportunity to be able to put forward your ideas and help to contribute to how volunteering actually works. And if you remember, APM is made out of volunteers. So you would have the pleasure of interacting with all the people like myself who want to help and helping guide and steer them into what that may look like. Branch, wait to see it. Okay, we'll come back to that, Florian. Mentoring, again, I just elaborated on it. There's a platform, you can join the platform, and there's a couple of questions specifically on that, so we can answer it in a moment. Supporting APM's awards, yes, so you could be someone who is a part of a steering group member for that particular topic, or you could be a judge, or you could be a seasonal judge. I am not someone who got involved with this, but I know from my colleagues from the APM, volunteering colleagues, who absolutely love it. So a friend of mine, he says that it's the most enhancing thing he's done with the APM, because it helps him get to know what people are thinking, what projects they're doing, where is the focus of the profession, and what are the things that the professionals like us are very proud of, because that's what gets to put in these applications. And I think we are currently running for the awards, aren't we, Casper? I think the call out is still open for submissions.
Submissions can still be made, yeah. Judges have been appointed, but you can still make a submission, yes. Thanks for the plug.
No problem. It's only because I was thinking about making a submission, but I forgot what was the deadline. So judges have been appointed, but next year, no problem at all. Maybe once you've got involved with the APM and you've been doing some volunteering, and then next year you've got more time available and you want to expand on your volunteering, there we go, you can become a judge. And then membership panelist. This is open to members who want to be volunteers but are already full members of the APM or fellow. Actually, let me just correct that. To be a membership panelist, Casper, I do think you have to be at least full member, don't you?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. Yes, I remembered it well. So it's for the people who want to join the association at a higher level. You review their applications, as you may know or may not, if you want to. So for example, I'm preparing myself to submit my fellow application, and it will go into a judge who I will not know, who will have a look at it and recommend me or not. So that's the job. It takes a little bit more time. Don't know how many members may be applying, but obviously you won't be alone. There will be a number of people who are doing this. But you may have one application in 1 week and you may have nothing for 3 weeks, which I don't think is the case. There's so many people joining, but let's say so. And then you'll have a few later in the following month. So it does take a little bit more of contribution. Therefore, it's lower down the list as a higher intensity. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So what we've discussed is predominantly for people who are members, but there are things that you can do as a non-member. And that's the blogging, vlogging, that's the little video here and there. You can write for Project Magazine. So for example, I work with a lady from the Project Magazine, and we do a short piece of 300 to 500 words, depending on what it is that is required, for either the project blog or the paper version, which also comes out online. And I do that every couple of months. I know that there are people who write every month. There are people who write fortnightly. It's completely up to you what you're willing to contribute. But it's an amazing opportunity to volunteer and at the same time to be able to put your thoughts out there. You can be a book reviewer for the Project Magazine as well. And these books are actually not something that is available on the market. So I've had a request once from the Project Magazine to have a look at a pocket-sized book about project profession and project management in general, and it was maybe 150 pages. It was a short piece, and it just needed a quick read and a summary of what it spoke about and what I thought about it. Yes, it wasn't on the market as yet, so I was, possibly getting a copy of something that nobody else has seen, which is absolutely exciting. I love that kind of thing. So you're volunteering, but also you're getting the privilege of being in before anybody else. You can be a subject matter advisor for the APM learning. So if you're a specialist in a certain area of a profession and you want to contribute, you can put forward ideas, or you can perhaps review the learning proposals or courses that are being put out and bounced around between APM. APM never really stops. It always wants to deliver to all of its members the latest training, the latest learning opportunities, and you can be that person who can contribute and recommend and advise on what it is that needs to be looked at. And then finally, APM Research. Again, just having finished my master's degree myself, I'm still in a research mode. And I absolutely love papers that are coming out of the APM, specifically something that I know nothing about. And you can be that person who's educating an individual, a member like me, through your contribution to the research that APM is doing. I do believe that APM publishes its research grants, so you can also go on the website and have a look at what are the topics and where perhaps you can generate a new knowledge. But APM Research is all about new knowledge. It's all about putting something out there that, if you imagine, all the members could possibly practicing in the future. I find this extremely exciting. And again, you're still volunteering. That's volunteering. And that's what I find about the volunteering with the APM that is so exciting, is that people volunteer for different reasons. I also volunteer as someone who feeds the homeless, and when I go there, I am there for them. I'm there for a reason. I am there to serve them. But APM volunteering is got a different nature, and I think it's worth recognizing that you get out of it a lot depending on how much you put in. So the reward from it is different kind, but it's professionally related, and I think it's quite important to highlight that. And I would encourage anyone to put as much time as you can into your volunteering, because there's so many things you can get out of it. And it's not to say that it's the driver, but it's a beautiful benefit that we all professionals can enjoy. So highly recommend it, highly recommend it. Moving on to the next slide. So there is the branch and SIG nominations going on right now, which I hope you'll be interested in. We spoke a little bit about what you could do as a part of committee. What does that mean? Which means the meetings, thinking about business cases, and thinking about events, the focus for the SIG, the focus for the group, thinking about collaborations, thinking about not just the collaborations within the APM, but other project professionals. So much that you can do in this area. So I will highly encourage you that if you are interested, have a look, see if you can, if you are willing to apply, and get involved, because it will pay you back 10 times, and you will get all these various benefits that I spoke about just a moment ago, or for the last 37 minutes. So please do scan the barcode. I'm going to give you a moment before we move on from this slide. And whilst we're doing that, just a reminder to you, with him, what did I do? I did an event with them, and that was a great experience. That's a part of the SIG. So if you want to go and join a specific interest group because, I don't know, you love risk, or you love something else, or you have interest in quality, or anything like that, it's an opportunity to get together with very specifically minded people who can help you evolve, and you can help evolve the profession to evolve, and a group to evolve. Thank you, Casper, for that so much. Branches as well. Branches are doing some fantastic stuff, especially during COVID. Branches were getting so innovative on collaborations, on how to bring people into webinars, it was almost like business continuity planning at certain times when it was lockdowns, and they had to transfer what they were doing from branch and face-to-face into online. And now you're looking at doing things slightly differently, but you have to think about people's comfort. It is almost like running a business to a degree, which I think is very exciting, and it gives an opportunity to learn on the mechanics on how these things work, what you have to think about. And as project professionals, we think a lot. I do appreciate that, but there are things that you can still learn or expand on and get to know people, get to know a lot of people who you may have not connected with otherwise, or you may have not had the opportunity to have a chat about, generally speaking. So please do apply. I hope you will enjoy Branch and SIG, and then you will pick up some sort of volunteering with them. Moving on to the next slide, if it's okay. Okay, so I hope that my chatting away has inspired you or got you excited into joining the volunteering and what the options. So come on, guys, give me your thumbs up. I want to see those definitelys, and we can talk about where you're going to join in, because I want to make sure that you've got the information you need to be able to do volunteering. It's as much as you want, it's as little as you want, and you get a heck of a lot out of it. Okay, thank you so much. I'm loving this. Okay, anyone else going to join the poll? We may have it should be still on your phone if you've done it the first time. Just go to slide and submit. Okay, this can keep on. I think I can it. Oh, mine's gone down. Okay. In that case, let's just really quickly. I can see a question from Tamsin. We'll have a look at that. I want to move to Q&A because I think it's important that I answer what's been in the chat. But just a final bit. Can we go to the next slide, Maya, just to see if we can suss out. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate people thinking about it. I think that's also very good. So next steps, to apply, go via QR code or go through the, I think there's also a link in the chat here that you can use. If you can't use the QR code, it can be temperamental. It didn't work for me earlier, so hopefully that's for you too. For all the other opportunities, please use the email address of volunteers@apm.org.uk. Make a note of that. And given the information provided today, you can ask for something specific and be put in contact with the right people. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please feel free. Just to remind you, I'm Ewelina Kruk, and if I can, I'll answer your questions. Volunteers@apm.org.uk is probably best place for you to go, but if you do want to talk to me, then you know where to find me. I'm there and available. Just drop me a line. And before we move on to Q&A, I can't recommend it highly enough. Please do get involved. It is, I would say, it's so highly rewarding. Again, I call it when you do your day-to-day job and you're powering through the things that you have to complete, what you have to think about. To me, stepping away from that and doing volunteering is like this professional injection of energy. I take so much away from it. I can't recommend it enough. It refreshes my mind and it refreshes my love and my passion for the profession. Sometimes you can forget you've got it because you're just powering on through your projects and your programs, and stress levels can get a little high. But this is why I love this community and I want to give back to it, and it gives back 10 times. Okay, this may be a bit good. I don't know if you can go on to Menti again. We'll start the Q&A, but we'll leave this slide up. If you can let us know where your interest is. It helps us with targeting Q&A and answers and maybe putting you in the right place. So let us know where the interest is and we will try and ask your question. Perfect. So let's let this run. Can we open up the mics for people to talk? Amazing. Thank you so much. Perfect. So this is happening. If I missed your question in the chat, please do come on mic. We'll try and cover it. Rona, hi, fellow mentor. Hello. Would you like to go over your question?
Well, it was really the point I put in the chat. So I've done quite a lot of mentoring at work, in a number of different roles, and to be honest, I get as much out of it, I hope, as the mentees do. I signed up at the beginning of the year for the APM program, but it's quite difficult to see if there's anything I could be doing that would get more activity, because it's quite limited what you can put. So that's why I was looking for some feedback on the mentor card.
Oh, okay. So, so you would like to have more people come forward and want to be your mentee? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, if it's something that I'm not doing correctly, then that's the kind of thing. Is there something I need to be doing that is not allowing this to progress? So that it was really what do I need to do?
Yeah, is there so just generally about a mentor card, what I found that is appealing to, if I'm wanting to attract a mentee, well, first of all, I'm really honest about what it is that I can cover, but I don't narrow it too extremely, if that makes sense. So you've got on your card, you've got things that you can support someone with. And it's very easy to think, oh, if I put 20 things, what am I going to help them with? But I actually just try and put my interests in there and what I've had experience of in terms of performing my job. And then they can cherry pick the one or two things that they're interested in, and that's how they engage. So that's the only recommendation I have. And there's a lot of people wanting support in early careers. So just making sure that you've got that, what stage of mentee you can help with, because I think there's early, middle ground, and senior. Because people then look and filter. But I was wondering, Casper and Maya, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Rona would be best in maybe chatting with Sarah just to make sure if we could connect
I would say so, Rona. Just to be clear to everybody, the mentoring program launched at the end of January. So I think we're still learning some lessons, to be honest, about what attracts people the most. But I think now that it's been going for just under 6 months, we're probably in a good space to be able to look at the data and see, who the most popular people are in one very shallow way, that receive lots of inquiries, and learn some lessons from that and share that with other people that have signed up for the program. Yeah, so I think it's a good shout from you, and then we'll take that offline.
Sorry, and Sarah, who is
Sarah Slater is member of my team, and she kind of runs the day-to-day mentoring platform for us.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I think when I signed up, I've had some emails from her, so that's great. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Rona.
Super. Is there anyone else? Any questions? Please raise your hand up. Whilst we're doing that, what I'll try and do is go from bottom and see if there's anything we haven't answered. Oh, okay. So we've got Raza. You're saying that you tried to become a mentee, but the website didn't let you log in. You're still waiting for a response. Oh, no, sorry. That's, yeah, okay. Can I please check that you are a member, Raza? Yes, you are. Okay. Sounds like a technical glitch. So just what Casper has explained, the platform is sort of in its early stages. So what I would do if I were you, just go back on the email that you've sent, and I don't know, Casper or Maya, if there's anything else we can recommend that could be done to expedite or assist.
I'm just going to pop my email address in the chat. If you want to reach out to me, Raza, with the query again, then I'll feed it back to Sarah's on leave this week, but there's someone else who works daily with the platform. We can make sure we pick it up and understand what the glitch is and how we can fix it.
Super, thank you so much for this, Casper. I wasn't sure where I was going with my answer. So that's wonderful. So we've got one resolved. And then somebody else is asking about research. Okay, so could we, thank you so much for all of your answers about where your interests are. And then it's great to see how widespread it is. Clearly, I need to be a bit more informative about the awards judging, because that is an exciting bit, but we'll try a little bit more next time. So for the person who asked about research, please do email volunteers@apm.org.uk. I am certain you're going to get more information, but also if you go through the APM website, there is sections about research, especially if there are call-outs or grants being made available. Volunteers@apm.org.uk, that is a very good place to go for any volunteering queries. Okay, thanks, Neil. Yes, there's plenty of ways to volunteer, and they could be with different effort levels. I will put my contacts later on if that is okay. I can't go to my LinkedIn right now, but going through APM Research really helped me during my master. Yep, I can believe in that. I'm just trying to find more questions. Somebody asked a question, can you be a SIG? And yep, there we go. Thank you, Casper, for answering that one. Perfect. Yes, so you could be both on a branch and a SIG committee. Are there any other questions? Is there a hand up? I think I can see a hand up. Look, hi. Do you want to come on and ask your question?
Hi, afternoon. Yeah, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's a question specific to my workplace. I'm in the armed forces, and I'm also a student at university. I'm a member of the APM as a student. I'm a member of an engineering institution, the IET, through the military. That they also allow people to join up as students. I just wondered if the APM were looking to open up membership to members of the armed forces. I know that there's quite an appetite within like the armed forces community at the minute, especially with like service leavers. People are interested in becoming members. I don't know if you would be able to answer that, or maybe direct me to somebody who would be able to give me a bit more of an informed answer. But I currently volunteer with the IET and help people to become members of that engineering institution. And it's something that I'd be interested in doing with APM if that was possible.
I definitely need some help on this with Casper.
I'll step in. So it's quite a timely question, funnily enough, because we've had a couple of events this year through our branch network about forces leavers. So clearly there are networks of forces leavers already in place, and we've had some members of that network talk to some of our members about the transition that they've made and the support that they can get. So it's a live issue. There's nothing to stop someone in the armed forces being an APM member, just like any sector. But in terms of the way that we can engage a bit more closely with the armed forces, that's happening right now. So if you want to send me an email, and my email's in the chat, then I can go back to some colleagues of mine that were involved in delivering those events and play back any relevant content for you that way.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
We've had a couple more hands up. Let me just check who was next. So that was Valerie.
Hi, Ewelina. Thanks so much for a brilliant presentation. I can't wait to actually start volunteering and getting more involved. It just sounds so exciting. Officially, the question I had is, I'm a new member to APM, and I'll be doing my first course. Hopefully, I'll be registering for that in the next couple of weeks or so. One question I had really is about being a mentee. I currently have a mentor at my current job. Although I don't work in project management at the moment, I work in higher education. My mentor is actually a senior project manager, and I wondered if it's worth my while also, you know, signing up to be mentored by somebody who's actually an APM member, or it's probably not worth doubling up really.
This is such a good question. So let me just tell you something about how many mentors I've got. I've got a board of directors. That's what I call them. And that's in total, I speak to probably, depending on my issue, 4 mentors regularly. And the reason why I'm giving you this example is that I think it's important to have more than one mentor, because you will learn to where their strengths are and what you can go to them with. And also it's good to have someone who's external to your company to give you a different view. And anyone from the APM will also be someone who's practicing the profession through the frameworks that APM sets out. So for all those reasons, you're not doubling up, you're just giving yourself a different dimension.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate it.
No problem. And then we had someone else, I think I remember the name, but let me just say, Mike. Hi, Mike, are you still there?
Yeah, hi, Ewelina. Thank you very much for today. Just a quick question really about the time commitment of being on the MAPM or the FAPM panels. Just wonder if you have any idea what that might look like.
So Casper may want to comment on what I will say, but from the colleague of mine who I know is doing this or used to be doing, you obviously can determine how many applications you've got time to review. So I also know that in the early stages of his contribution, it would take him longer to review an application. So he was doing lower volumes and therefore maybe contributing 5 hours a month to that. But then the quicker he got, then he was shortening the time of contribution, but was able to do more applications because he already knew what to look out for. So I think there's a bit of a process to how much, but I also think you can dictate how much time you've got available. But it's not a half an hour or 3-minute video. I think that's what we're highlighting here in putting it lower down the intensity. Okay, Casper, do you want to add to that?
No, nothing to add there. I'd say it's kind of in the middle of commitment for volunteers. There's no hard and fast amount of time, but I have asked my colleague who looks after all of our panel members to just let me know what the typical amount of time is. She hasn't got back to me yet, but I'm happy to pick that up with you if you want to ping me an email.
Yeah, thanks both.
No problem. We've got only 3 minutes left. Is there any last questions that I can answer for anybody? Oh, sorry, I can see some more hands. Oh, no, these are residual hands, I think. No new hands. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to hand over back to Casper, but it's been a pleasure to be here with you today. And thanks for engaging with what I was saying. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Ewelina, very much. And I think people have already said what a fantastic presentation you've given us today and tremendous insights, and the sea of clappy hands at the bottom of the page tells its own story. So I hope that there's something in there in terms of volunteering that really fits in with your own schedule. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's not just zigs and branches, as you may have thought before, but there really is something that can tie in with what your requirements are at different times of the year. So we'll be sharing the recording in the not too distant future later on in the week. If you missed anything, have a look at that. Otherwise, please get in touch with us via this email address on the slide right now, and I hope to see many more of you become volunteers with APM. But yeah, once again, thank you, Ewelina, for some inspirational content.